I just wish that you could tap onto the advanced camera modes that you get from an iPhone, for instance, because there is no ProRes feature, there is no way of accessing Apple Log, and some of the other features that you can with a third-party app, like the Blackmagic. So sometimes I wish that DJI would actually spend a little bit of time implementing a better memo. There is actually one other thing that is really good, and it's the fact that you have this jogwheel here that you can now assign for focus, zoom, as well as the obvious control of the LED on this tracker. I just think this whole design feels a little bit lazy from DJI because there is nothing really new from the M6. The buttons are in exactly the same place. The LCD screen wasn't great back then and it's exactly the same as it is now. And the functionality of the gimbal itself and what you can do compared to going into the app is exactly the same. You can switch from vertical to horizontal just by double tapping this button, but this is nothing new. This is something that DJI has been doing for years and pretty much every other.
So, hot on the heels of the DJI Osmo Mobile 7P, with its new tracking module, Insta360 has brought out this, their new competitor AI tracker module for the Flow 2 Pro. And if you're currently in the market for a smartphone gimbal, then you're probably trying to decide between these two. And while they are both great, today we will not only be looking at some of the pros and cons of each, we will also extensively test the new tracking modules against each other to see which one is best, along with a full comparison, so that you can work out which one is right for you personally. And let's first start with the similarities, and we'll rattle through these pretty quickly so that we can get on to what the main differences are. So looking at the size folded, you can see they're pretty much the same. Both are very portable and can easily fit in a coat pocket, for example. They also both feature a one-step rapid deployment, and what that means is to use the gimbal, you only need to unfold the arm, attach your phone, and you're good to go. And now that they are unfolded, you can see that the DJI Osmo Mobile 7P is a fraction taller than the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, although the difference really is tiny. And they both feature a pull-out extendable selfie stick, and both these selfie sticks have tiltable heads, which you can rotate up to 90 degrees. Both gimbals also feature a built-in tripod, which can be simply pulled out from the bottom and then expanded. And this comes in super handy, especially if you want to place the gimbal down to have it track you. Comparing them, however, you can see that the Flow 2 Pro's legs are longer, and this wider span does provide more stability compared to the 7P. When the gimbals are set down on the tripods, your phone tends to act like a windsail. So on windier days, while I have noticed that both gimbals tend to rock a little bit, because of the 7P's shorter legs, it's more likely to get blown over. They also both feature a Q20 mounting point on more light gimbals, tends to act like a windsail. So on windier days, while I have noticed that both gimbals tend to rock a little bit, because of the 7P's shorter legs, it's more likely to get blown over. They also both feature a Q20 mounting point on the bottom, should you wish to attach them to a full-sized tripod. For example. Now while on paper the Flow 2 Pro is a little bit heavier than the 7P, when holding them it's pretty much impossible to tell the difference, with both handles being almost the same size. Although I have to say the DJI Osmo Mobile 7P is more ergonomic. Basically, it's more comfortable to hold, at least in my opinion, as the groove in the back has a softer angle that molds it better to your hand. Now, when it comes to attaching your phone, both these gimbals have the same two mounting options. They both come firstly with a clamp, which simply expands over your phone to grip it, and then this magnetically attaches to the head of the gimbal. And while these both work the same, I will say that the DJI 7P's clamp does feature chunkier grips that do tend to hold your phone more securely. However, this clamp does feature one big drawback compared to Insta360's version that we'll touch on later. Now, in terms of phone compatibility, there's not much between the two, with both gimbals supporting phones up to 300 grams in weight, which for reference, the massive iPhone 15 Pro Max I'm using in this example only weighs 220 grams, so there is margin to use accessories such as filters for your phone. Now, I did mention that you can attach your phone in two ways, and the second way is these, sold separately additional accessory MagSafe mounts. If you have a phone or case that supports MagSafe, these simply magnetically snap onto the back, allowing you to attach your phone to the gimbal, and I find these much more convenient than the traditional phone clamp. It's also worth noting that unlike the older DJI Osmo Mobile 6, both these gimbals can be folded down with the clamp still attached, should you wish to keep it attached when storing it so that you don't lose it. Now, when you first look at the front of these gimbals, and specifically at the controls, while they do look very different, with the Flow 2 Pro having a much more minimalist design and appearance, in reality, they both pretty much function the same way. First up, they both have a scroll wheel, allowing you to zoom the camera in or out, although I'm not that keen on the placement of the 7P scroll wheel, as I find I'm constantly accidentally bumping the top of my thumb against it when holding the gimbal, causing the camera to accidentally zoom. They also both have a joystick that allows you to move the gimbal around, and with this, it's the other way around, with the 7P being slightly ahead, as its joystick has a better grip, and is more prominent and therefore easier to move smoothly. I find the Flow 2 Pro's joystick to be a little bit notchy in use. They also both have a shutter button to start or stop a recording, and a switch button to rotate the phone between horizontal and vertical orientation. There's also triggers on the back that both allow you to recenter the gimbal, enter lock mode, which is where the phone will stay pointing in the same direction regardless of how you move it, or change the phone between forward facing and backward facing. These gimbals both also feature 4 different gimbal modes, which by and large work exactly the same way, allowing you to lock or unlock different axes of movement. So firstly, there is a follow mode, where the tilt and pan axis follow your movements. There is also a pan follow mode, where only the pan axis axis moves, so this means the gimbal does not tilt up or down, keeping your horizon consistent, and there is also an FPV mode, which allows movement of the pan, tilt and also the roll axis to follow your movements, allowing you to capture footage that looks like it was shot on an FPV drone. Both gimbals also have a spin shot mode, where you can have your phone rotate to create this cool effect. However, the way you use this mode does differ between the two. With the 7P, there is a separate spin shot mode, in which you use the joystick to rotate your phone. Whereas with the Flow 2 Pro in FPV mode, you just use the scroll wheel to achieve the same effect. Worth mentioning, if you are an absolute beginner and don't want to have to worry about these modes, the Flow 2 Pro has an additional automatic mode, which depending on your movement, the gimbal will automatically decide which movement to follow, meaning you don't have to worry about setting an individual mode. Now looking at these two gimbals closer, there are other little unique design differences between them. So starting with the Flow 2 Pro, you can see we first get this selfie mirror on the gimbal head, which helps you frame your shot when you're using the rear-facing cameras on your smartphone. There's also an indicator light on the arm, which will change from solid to slowly flashing to let you know when you're recording. And there is a green tracking light around the top of the handle, which will illuminate when tracking is active. In contrast, the OM7P's only unique design feature is this small red recording light on the gimbal arm, which again lights up to let you easily see when you are recording video if you're using the rear-facing cameras on your phone. Now, arguably the main reason to get a smartphone gimbal is to help get super smooth footage, and both these gimbals feature 3-axis mechanical stabilization. Looking at some example clips of me walking and running on screen now, you can see in reality there's barely any difference between the two. Both gimbals are top class when it comes to stabilization and stabilize your clips really well. You won't be disappointed with either if you're looking nice smooth footage. Now I often get asked, if smartphone stabilization is so good nowadays, do you really need a gimbal? Well, just take a look at this comparison between these two gimbals and me using my phone handheld when walking forward while zoomed in, and you can see these gimbals make a huge difference to how stable the footage is. Moving over now to take a look at battery life, and this is also identical, with both offering approximately 10 hours off runtime. And both gimbals can also charge your phone should it run low on battery. Now initially, I thought this was a feature I would never use, but trust me, after going out and spending a few afternoons filming with my iPhone, I'm shocked by how quickly this battery drains down, and now I often find myself topping it back up using the gimbals. Now something I did notice is that with the Flow 2 Pro, the USB-C out is on the gimbal head. So what this means is it rotates with your phone while charging, keeping it free moving. However, the main USB-C port on the 7P is on the body, so this doesn't move with your phone and can lead to it getting tangled while charging. Now to get around this, you have to use the tracking module, which we will look at in more detail shortly, but with this attached, you can now use its USB-C out to charge your phone, and because it moves with your phone, it also won't get tangled. So that's just something you have to be aware of. Okay.
가지고 싶은 것이 있나?